Uh, so normally a chart which is handed over to a candidate, there are certain instructions I would like to give before you really go on to reading the chart. See, perimetry or field testing or field examination is a part of investigating or identifying the problem in a case of glaucoma. Clinically, you have certain parameters and you have the examination of the field or the perimetry in the form of this chart. So obviously, just a perimetry chart cannot be diagnostic. You cannot probably tell everything. You need to correlate it clinically. But having said that, a perimetry chart, you will have to know how to interpret a perimetry chart and what is the basics that you should be sticking to and what is expected in the examination. And you can never tell your diagnosis with a perimetry chart. You will always have to say, most likely it could be this. I would like to look into the patient's eye and look at the clinical features, and probably I do expect this. So if you can connect your perimetry findings with the clinical findings, so-called, which is going to be present, that is where you need to connect the dots. That is where you can score marks. So when a field chart is handed over to you or it is given on a laptop screen, okay, don't look at it with awe and so much of surprise. You should show a sense of familiarity. See, when during your training, if you are looking into perimetry charts and getting familiarized reading them and seeing in a day-to-day basis, I think it should not really matter. So I will not go into exactly how this perimetry chart actually looks. I only tell you how to read the chart. For example, whatever chart is coming on to the thing, actually it's a single field analysis. See, you have so many glaucoma progression analysis, you have overview analysis. So normally they give a single field analysis. So you can say this is a printout of a single field analysis of Mr. So and so. You may not really tell the name, okay, and it is of the left eye. So you need to tell it's the left eye of Mr. So and so, and immediately you should be able to tell the age, which is not really necessary, but you should have an idea what is the age of the patient. The date of birth is given here. You should know it's an young patient or an old patient. Then what is very important is you should actually tell what is the kind of test that you are doing. It's a central 30-2 test. That means they are checking the central 30 degrees of the test. So it's a central 30, it's written there already, and it's a threshold test. That means it is not a screening test, it's a threshold test. Normally for glaucoma, they do threshold test. For neurological fields, they do screening test. Okay. Then what is very important is all the other things like date, time, stimulus, people, that is not really important. You have to go to the very important, what is the strategy. So in a 30-2, you can do a full threshold, you can do a CETA standard, you can do a CETA fast. So in central 30-2, the strategy that we are using is a CETA. You should know the full form. It is actually a fast version, a shortcut version of the full threshold. Swedish interactive thresholding algorithm. So this is a Humphrey Fields. In an octopus, they will have its own counterparts. Then having said that, please come to this reliability indices. These are very important. The fixation losses, false positives, false. You don't have to read it from the printout. As an expert, we don't really want those values. We just say this field looks reliable. Because if there is a reliability, unreliability, non-reliability, there will be a star. So here what you say, the fixation losses are 9 out of 19, which has been already flagged. That means the field looks unreliable. So just give an impression, is it a reliable field or an unreliable field? And you can tell the reason. For example, in this case, you say the fixation losses are more, hence it's an unreliable field. You don't have to tell the test duration, and the fovea, you don't have to tell every time. You can come back to it if at all there is a problem with it. Okay. So when we move ahead, the very important thing that you need to, this is the gray scale and this is the numeric scale. You don't have to describe the gray scale in detail. It just gives a kind of a topography. It is just a hill of vision from above. You say in this case, there are certain depressed areas in the both superior and inferior hemifield. The depressed areas. So these are the depressed areas that you are seeing here. So there are some depressed areas in both superior and inferior hemifield. You don't have to explain their significance or the amount of depression. Just you tell that. You don't have to comment about the numeric scale right now. Then comes the total deviation and the pattern deviation. So this is the total deviation and this is the pattern deviation. These are the exact values and this is the actually the interpretation. So the total deviation shows certain depressed areas close to fixation. You can use, there are areas of reduced sensitivity. Here I say there are depressed points. So these are the things that you need to tell. Don't use the word scotomas. Scotomas are not to be used while reading a printout. You say there are areas of depressed sensitivity because they may not really turn out to be scotomas clinically. Whereas in pattern deviation, except for one area, there are no significant areas of depressed. So in pattern deviation, there are no significant areas of depressed sensitivity. That means there's only one. If there are at least 3 contiguous points, that becomes a sizable, area of depression. So you can say that here, and the exact thing is written here. Then comes the glaucoma hemifield test, which is within normal limits. So you need to mention glaucoma hemifield test. At the same time, the visual field index, it is 98%, you need to mention. And the global indices, in this it is the mean deviation and the pattern standard deviation. Here, both of them are not significantly reduced. They are almost normal range or they are not significantly reduced. So, you can get rid of all this. So, if we probably go back to this again, so this is an area. So what we are going to say this in this field, how do we read this? So this is a printout of a single field analysis of the left eye of Mr. So-and-so. And it's a central 30-2 threshold test. And the strategy used is CETA standard. And the field is unreliable because of increased fixation losses. And the grayscale shows areas of depressed sensitivity both in superior and inferior hemifield, whereas in total and pattern deviation, in total deviation there are areas of depressed around the fixation, but not significant areas in the pattern deviation. And the glaucoma hemifield is within normal limits, and the visual field index is 98%, and the mean deviation and the pattern standard deviation not significantly altered. So meaning to say that this is almost a normal field. That means if you look at the patient's optic disc, you may not find much glaucomatous changes. So this is a normal field. In contrast to, change the other one. In contrast to, we'll take a field which has some abnormality. For example, if this field if you read this field, it is a single field analysis of the right eye of Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so, and it's a central 24-2 threshold test, and the strategy used is CETA standard. And the reliability, it looks like a reliable field. That's what you need to say. And when you go into the grayscale, grayscale shows significant, areas of, significantly depressed areas in the superior hemifield. So you can use significantly depressed in the
upper part of the chart is not
so. Okay. Yes. So looking at that, so I think we will get back to the, it's okay, forget about it. So that means pattern deviation. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Okay. So this was the field I was explaining. So this is a single field analysis of the right eye of Mrs. So-and-so. And this is a 24-2 test, threshold test, and it's a CETA standard. and it's a reliable field. And the grayscale shows areas of significantly depressed areas in the superior hemifield, which is also reproduced in total and pattern deviation. You don't have to explain it all over again. Or you can say there are areas of significantly depressed areas both in superior and both in total and pattern deviation. And the glaucoma hemifield test is outside normal limits. Visual field index is 67. And here you can see the pattern standard deviation is P less than 0.5 is significantly depressed. So you can say, looking at the pattern deviation where there are more than 3 non-H points which are significantly depressed, glaucoma hemifield test being outside normal limits, and the pattern standard deviation in the global indices is significantly depressed. So looking at these three, which is called the Anderson's triad, we can say this defect is significant. So you need to mention the significance of the field defect by these things. And you say there appears to be a significant field defect involving the superior hemifield. I would like to look at the patient's optic disc. I do expect an inferior rim damage or inferior neuroretinal rim damage. So this is what you would like to actually say, so that you know an inferior disc damage will result in a superior arcuate or a superior hemifield defect. So a perimetry is something that you will always, uh, get it. So perimetry is one investigation which you can always expect in a PG exam, other exercise during your training, so that in the rather than somebody who is grumpy, who is in tears, who is asking for some kind of a grace. No, you should actually be very confident, because when you come up as tomorrow's ophthalmologist, we expect you to be safe, we expect you to be competent, we expect you to be confident. I think that confidence should show, what I should say, a free spirited, goodwill into every PG who is at the who is get back to your books, and important questions we are going to answer, and send you a PDF to your email ID that you have registered with to, and please look out for the second season of this web series. And I would like to, from the bottom of our heart, on behalf of MM Joshi Eye Institute, I would like to thank all our resource